the 3rd day of October 2025. On that note, we welcome you to this morning edition of Sport Talk on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Emmanuel Mike. Glad to be here this morning to bring you up to speed with the latest gist in the world of sport. Top on our menu this morning, all is set for E1 Championship in Lagos. Coming in from the world of tennis, Corey Coco Golf to face compatriot in China Open. And the world of football, Flying Eagles edge past Saudi Arabia in 5 goals thriller. Details of this and many more will be yours after this short time out. Yeah, welcome back from that short break. Kingsley is here this morning. Kingsley, good morning and welcome to Sport Talk.
Thank you very much for having me, Mike. Nice to be here.
Nice to be here indeed. Let's start from the home scene, from the world of basketball, because reigning Nigerian Basketball Premier League champions, Rivers Hoopers, put up a performance underlined by resilience and character as they overturned a 4-point deficit at halftime to beat Lagos Legends 89-70 in the final games of the Atlantic Conference Phase 2. It was essentially a battle for pride and supremacy. It was Lagos Legends who scored the game's first point as they opened up an early lead that stretched to 9 points at 26-17 by the end of the first quarter, which was characterized by near misses for King's men. At the halftime break, offered Rivers Hoopers coach Ogo Dawudu the opportunity to make tactical tweaks in reinforcing how the team contained their opponents. So it was a game full of tactics, grids, and of course resilience from both sides. But Ogo Dawudu at the end of it was such a happy man to, go through to the third phase of the championship. What you are seeing of Rivers Supers, is it safe to say that they will defend their title successfully?
Of course, you can see that. You can see that they're very close in terms of defending the title. They won last time. We saw how it was, of course, in the game yesterday against the team, of course, from Lagos. They did start very well, of course, in that game. Lagos actually had a very impressive start, almost gapping them with about 9 points, in that game. But thank God for Ogo Dawudu, who actually utilized the halftime break, of course, to reinforce the team, re-energize them, and also make one or two, changes as well. And they were able, of course, to, get back, into the court and be able to put up, a very impressive performance, after the halftime. So for me, I think it was a good one, for Rivers Supers, and they take a look at the way they played. Of course, you see they're a team that, of course, are in that position of defending the title. Remember, we talked about the first game, where they started, where they were a little bit shaky, of course, in the start. And I said, yes, we have to, we should expect that, because after, not playing, in the tournaments and then coming back, we understand, yes, they had some preseason games, and all of that, but this is a competition where you have to take your time to understand your opponent. And after that, they were able to bounce back. The same thing, of course, with Lagos Legends. They have to observe and, of course, know how to be able to re-strategize and be able to put themselves in the game. And Ogo Dawudu did a good job, after the halftime, to be able to, of course, reinforce the team, and they were able, of course, to get the job done. So when you take a look at such a team, you definitely have that confidence that, yes, River Supers have what it takes, to be able to defend the title. They're into the third phase of the competition. I think that will be the last four. And for me, yes, they are very, very close with what I've seen at this point in time. They stand a very, very good chance of defending the title they won last time.
And of course, for the game yesterday, the lives of Buchingwam and, of course, John were the top scorer in that very game, as Rivers Hoopers edged closer to defending the title that they won last time out with impressive display so far. Now they're into the third phase, that is set to take place in an undisclosed venue, but we'll get to, know the venue when the time comes. Away from that, Nigeria's long jump sensation, Justina Chonogo, says she's already setting her sights on the NCAA Sussex after making her World Championship debut in Tokyo with a performance she believes will serve as a springboard for the future. The 19-year-old African under-20 record holder, who made the Olympic final in Paris last year, bowed out in the first round of the women's long jump after recording a time of 6.05 meters, placing 16th in her qualifying group. Despite her early exit in Tokyo, the Nigerian champion believes the experience has left her stronger and better prepared for what lies ahead. Reflecting further on the outing, Ochonogo admitted she felt prepared but was unable to fully deliver on the day. The Nigerian, who hold a personal best of 6.79 meter and is ranked 49th globally, highlighted her sprinting ability as one of her biggest weapons. She won bronze at the 2023 African Games and back-to-back national title in 2024 and the 2025 season. So Pristina Ochonogo still on the learning curve.
Yeah, she's still on the learning curve. She's still coming up, and I think the World Athletics Championship was a good experience, of course, for her, and I think she's been able to learn a lot. Though she couldn't get past the first round, of course, of her events, but I think was a very huge, experience for her. That's why she said she's now ready, very much ready to participate in the NCAA, championship. And I just wish the best for her. I just hope that, she continue, of course, to improve, in her game. And that is what, of course, Nigerians, of course, expect, from her at this point in time. I understand she's done a whole lot for herself. She's won national titles. She was also very impressive in the last, I think, the last African Games, where she, of course, took bronze, and all of that. So if you take a look at, her, you see that there's progression, and that we expect the best, of course, from her going forward.
The best from Pristina Ochonogo going forward, still on the learning curve, but then she's releasing the experience Ghana they transfer in international competition, especially the just concluded World Athletic Championship. We wish her well as she continue to, progress from the radar. And away from that, race bed pilot of the nine teams in the UIE E1 World Championship are looking forward to a thrilling penultimate race of the season in Lagos, as E1 makes its debut in Africa this weekend. The E1 is an all-electric international offshore powerboat racing series which debuted in Jeddah last year and is competed by 9 teams across selected cities in different countries. Ahead of the E1 Lagos Grand Prix, the pilots tested the waters with their race bed yesterday before the qualifying on Saturday and in main race on Sunday. Team Bradley, owned by 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Bradley, leads the championship, standing with just a single point over Team Rafa, which is owned by tennis legend, 22 Grand Slam winner Rafael Nadal. Ivory Coast football legend and former Chelsea striker Didier Drogba is also co-owned of Team Drogba Global Africa, along with Gabriele Lima, and he is expected to attend the race this weekend in Lagos State. Team Bradley, who also are the defending champions of the E1, are top with 135 points. Their closest challenger are Team Rafa with 134 points. Co-pilot Chris Lazaraga and Tom Chepe are also enthusiastic about winning in Lagos this weekend. So the E1 race is set to take place over there in Lagos this weekend, and it is a groundbreaking one because this is the first time that an African country will be hosting the E1. Lagos State continue to make strides in the area of sports.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good one at this point in time. Lagos, Nigeria, being the very first, venue in Africa where this one, of course, will be hosted. It actually tells you that, of course, Lagos is really, really very popular, and of course, they have a lot, when it has to do with facilities, and all of that, and they're also very much, engrossed and interested, in sports, and that's why we're seeing, such a sport, of course, being hosted, down there. For me, I think is a good one, at least to help, of course, maybe boost the economy, especially down there in Lagos, more, and all of that. When such thing, of course, such a sport is being hosted down there, it actually exposes the city, make people, of course, to know much about the city. People, of course, will be coming in, to watch this particular one. And for me, I think it's really, really an impressive one. We hope to see, more competition, international competitions, of course, being hosted, down here in Nigeria. But the thing is, we need to, of course, continue to develop ourselves, develop our sporting facilities, and make sure that, we stand a chance, with other African countries or maybe other European countries as well, to, of course, to be able to stand tall when it has to do with, putting up, such a competition. I'm really, really impressed that Lagos, of course, will be hosting this, for the very first time. And this is the first time this will be happening, of course, in Africa. So it's really, really a big one, and we look forward to see how it goes.
Looking forward to see how it goes this weekend, but I can tell you that Lagos State will be a big heaps of activity in the E1 championship that is set to go down this weekend. And of course, Lagos State putting Africa on the global map because this is the first time in history that an African country is hosting the E1. Last edition was hosted in Jeddah. And of course, Kingsley, the one that took place at Jeddah, Team Bradley, won it, and they are the defending champion. Are you seeing any stiff competition coming from the team of Rafa, Drogba, and the rest?
Yeah, I think if you take a look at it, Team Bradley topping with 135 points, Team Rafa 134 points. So it's very, very close. So we should be looking at it very, very, tough competition between this team, as it stands. We should also expect something from Team Drogba as well. They shouldn't be also left out. I also think they can come up, with something very huge at this point in time. But when you take a look at the point gap, just 1 point separating Team Brandy and Team Rafa. So you should expect something, very, very huge between both teams this weekend.
Beyond that, one interesting angle is that most of these E1, teams is being owned by, ex or sports personnel. It means that they are also even planning to, of course, create job opportunity and, of course, create another sporting opportunity for the teaming, population across the world. This is a good idea. Not just playing at the top level, and when you hang up your boot or drop your racket, you just go down to sleep, you start your private life. They're also thinking of also, being involved in the sporting ecosystem. This is something that should be very commendable.
Yeah, very, very commendable. Talk about, Rafa Nadal, who is now, of course, longer playing tennis. You still see him, of course, taking part in sports like this. It's part of, planning for your retirement. You invest your money.
True.
That's the thing, all right? Drogba is in it today. He invests his money, of course, in the sports. Definitely, there must be means or avenue of racking up money, from this one, as it stands. So for me, I think it's a good one. Why they are also trying to invest their money after retiring, of course, from sports. They are also, at least, just like you mentioned, creating job opportunities, making sure that, they still involve themselves in sports. And I think for me, it's a good idea. And this should be a wake-up call for some sportsmen and women that are currently, active, at this point in time. You start planning for your retirement. Understand that in sports, there is no pension. It's not that when you retire, maybe the club you're playing for will start paying you, every week or every month or thereabouts. All right, so you have to see how to plan. The thing is that when you stop playing, your level of income might not be the same.
Yeah.
Yes, if you were not investing your money properly. All right, so you have to really look for avenues. Because the money is there, you have to look for a way how to invest it properly, so that when you retire, you continue to live your life properly. Not, after retirement, you start, oh, please, I don't have money for this, I don't have money for that, please come and help me and all of that. Oh, I did this when I was active, I did this, please. You start being emotional and all of that. It doesn't really, make sense. So I think the likes of Rafa and the rest of them, they're really doing a good one in trying to invest and also support, the sporting system.
Good one for the sport personalities, across different E1, section, as they are owners and co-owners of those teams out there. Good idea after retirement from professional, football, tennis, or whatever sport. Then your sources of income become very thin and limited. So making plans for the future, and it's a very good one. Also creating job opportunities, and also able to allow other persons as well to, of course, be part and parcel of such a sport. Is a very, very big achievement, and we must commend these sports men and women that have, of course, initiated this idea to co-found some of these E1 championship. Away from that, let's talk tennis on the show this morning, because defending champion Corey Kokogov beat Eva Lins in straight set to reach her third consecutive China Open semi-final World number 3 took 1 hour and 28 minutes to overcome her German opponent 6-3, 6-4. Golf, a two-time Grand Slam winner, broke Lille serve 3 times in the opening set. The 21-year-old American, who has struggled with her serve at times this season, has been working on that very problem and had an impressive 78% first serve percentage throughout the match. Golf, who was knocked out in the first round at the Wimbledon after winning the French Open before falling to Naomi Osaka in the US Open 4th round, is now the highest ranked player left in this week's event. She will now face American compatriot Amanda Anisimova, runner-up at the Wimbledon and the US Open this year in the last 4. Anisimova seeded second, came from a set down to beat Italy's Jasmine Paolini 6-7, 6-3, 6-4, and we play in her 6th semi-final of the year. So for my lady Cory Coco Gauff, she continued to improve her game, especially the area of serve that she has faltered this season.
Yeah, good improvement for Coco Gauff, and I hope, of course, she keep up with this momentum, and let's see if she can bring that consistency. Of course, we'll be asking for, for a very long time, and she's into the last 4 of this one, and I think for me it's a good run for Coco Gauff. Can she go all the way, to get this one? She'll be facing another American, talking about Amanda Anisimova, which I think, of course, is going to be a little bit of a tricky one, for her. But I just hope that with this level of improvements, this level of momentum, of course, she has put up, so far. I think it will be a good one, and let's just see what comes up between her and Amanda Anisimova.
She is the currently ranked, player left in the competition. Kingsley, with that, is it, will you say, it's an advantage for her?
It's an advantage, but we understand that upsets are bound to happen in games, all right? It doesn't matter how you're ranked. After all, we've seen world number 1 beating world number 2 being beaten, and all of that. So ranking matters. Ranking actually talk about the particular, the form of a player, at that moment. But yes, you are on a very good form. Maybe you've actually won a lot of games, and all of that, and your ranking, of course, actually increased, but you never can tell. Someone can just come from nowhere, just, knock you down. So, yeah, you have to be on your toes. It doesn't matter the foe, you're the best ranked player, maybe in the last 4 and all of that. You don't need to direct anybody. You have to go in there and be able to put in your best, no matter who you're playing against. And I think that should be the mentality of Coco Gauff heading down to this one.
Massive one for Cory Coco Gauff. Tell you, it's been an impressive one for her, improving on herself as well. She is the highest ranked player left in the competition, and that is somewhat give her maybe an advantage per se, but then who knows, upset are bound, just like you heard from Kingsley. We've seen world number 1 being beaten by a player that is lowly ranked. So it's not all about ranking, but about determination and a quest to be at the top. So we see how this one will go down, but we can tell you that Cory Coco Gauff have moved on, and she continues to improve. I'm still talking tennis on the show this morning. Jack Draper's preparation for the 2026 have started a lot earlier than he would have wished. An arm injury has allowed him just 1 single match since Wimbledon and forced him to end his season early after the discomfort proved too much at the US Open in August. But the 23-year-old world number 8 is back in training, and the organizers of a 3-day event in London in December are confident he will be fit to play the UTS London Grand Final. Will be staged at the Copper Box from 5th to 7th December this year. Draper won the event in 2023 and pocketed what was the then biggest paycheck of his career. All right, at this point, we'll take a quick break from the non-footballing stories. So when we are back in a jiffy, we'll take you through the world of football. You're still onto Atlantic Television Network. Don't go away, because we'll be back very soon. All right, you're welcome back from that short break. We are still here, keeping you up to speed with the latest happenings around the world of sports this morning. Let's talk football on the show because Nigerian National League, NNL, has announced a registration timeline and requirements for clubs aiming to participate in the 2025-2026 season. The registration portal, according to the NNL, will open on Monday, October 6th, and close on Friday, October 24th. The requirement for registration are transfer matching system, TMS, certificate, valid medical certificate, and insurance certificate for registered players and officials. The league body warned that any club that failed to meet the deadline risk missing out on the upcoming campaign. The NNL Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Danlami Alanana, emphasized the importance of adhering strictly to the deadline, stressing that the league intend to follow its calendar without interruption. The new season is scheduled to kick off on Saturday, November 8th, 2025. Still talking the Nigerian League this morning, Abia Warriors and Kwara United bounced back from their continental disappointments with victories in their scheduled Nigerian Premier Football League games on Thursday in Umuahia. Abia Warriors defeated Remo Stars 2-0 in a matchday 6 clash. Emeka Obioma opened the scoring in the 28th minute before Sunday. Mwego converted a penalty in the 60th minute to seal the win for the hosts. At the Rashidi Yakini Main Bowl Stadium in Ilorin, Kwara United edged past Rivers Plateau United 2-1 in a keenly contested matchday 5 encounter. The win left Kwara United to 7th in the Nigerian Premier Football League log with 8 points from 5 matches played so far. They will next face Abia Warriors on Sunday in Ilorin, with both sides looking to build on their midweek triumphs. So for Abia Warriors and Kwara United, after the disappointing outing in the continental stage, they bounced back to winning ways. Beyond that, my worry is about Remo Stars, who also lost. Remo Stars, they have not been firing so far this season.
Yeah, they've not been firing, considering the fact that they are really, really engaged, as it stands, applying their trade in the continent and also in the Nigerian Premier Football League. And I think that might be, a thing of distraction, for Remo Stars, because I don't think they've not been in this situation since, of course, they got promoted to the Nigerian Premier Football League. We understand it's about, I think, 3 or 4 seasons now since they got promoted. They've not been that, consistent. The last two, the 2 times they qualified for the continent were actually being hosted out in the preliminary round of the competition. So, focusing in the CAF Champions League and also focusing on the Premier League is going to be a huge task for Remo Stars, and this is the first time they'll be trying to do this. And I tell you, there will be a little bit of distraction. The players might be tired if they don't have enough, as it stands. So there's going to be a lot. And don't forget, this is an away game. You have to travel from the west, down to the east, to honor this particular encounter. So you take a look at it, somehow you expect the players maybe to be tired or something, and all of that. So, and that's why Ogumode, they have to do a very, very good work. If you apply your trade in the continent and also trying to play in the Nigerian Premier Football League, you must have that squad depth. You must be able to see how to rotate your team so that fatigue, of course, will not set in, because you need to be on your toes, because the MPFL is looking very tough. Finidi George with Rivers United are pushing hard, as it stands. We'll take a look at the likes of Abia Warriors, and the rest of them. So Ogumode and his team, if they really want to defend the title, now that they are playing in the continent, they really have to make sure that, they know how to rotate the team, make good use of the squad depth, if at all, of course, they have at this point in time, because it's not going to be an easy season for them, looking due to the fact that they're looking how to make a mark, in the continent and also in the Nigerian Premier Football League. For Abia Warriors, I think for me it was a good one for them, putting up that impressive feat. I think Abia Warriors, they have been very, very consistent. Kudos must be given to, I think, is it John Obu, who is actually the chairman of the side. Since he came in, we've seen stability, of course, in that team. Abia Warriors are playing in the continent. So for me, it's really, really a good one. As well as the coach as well, Imama Mapakabo, who has also who has been someone who truly understands the Nigerian Premier Football League. So I think it's really a good one at this point in time. Abia Warriors, Enyimba Football Club as well, the two teams coming from the same state, really, really doing so well at this point in time. And before we leave the Nigerian League issue, you talked about the NNL. I think I must really give kudos, to the organizers of the Nigerian National League. They've really, really done well. See the way they're setting up the league at this point in time, making all the clubs, to be on their toes. This is not the way it used to be again. You have to be on your toes. You have to present all the necessary documents before you, of course, you participate, in the league this time around. And don't forget, they actually, of course, got a sponsor this time around that actually came up with a very, very huge amount of money. You win a league, you win a game, your players, of course, stand a chance of earning a very huge amount of money, as a stand. And I think for me, we must give kudos to the organizers of the Nigerian National League. They really, really step up their game, at this point in time. And I think Benga Elegbeleye too, and his board in the MPFL, I think they should start looking towards that direction, taking a look at what they're doing at this point in time. Oftentimes we hear Benga Elegbeleye and his board sign deal with this, sign deal with this, but so sometimes we don't get to know how the money are being distributed, what and what are being used for. But at the end of the day, you say, oh, we signed deal with a certain broadcast organization, why is the match not on TV and all of that? So a lot of questions to ask, but this is the Nigerian National League putting up a very impressive deal for themselves, and they actually spelled out how this money, of course, will be shared, among the teams and all of that. But I just hope that, of course, that will be implemented, at the end of the day. So for me, I think we must give them kudos. If they continue like this, I tell you, some teams might even be happy self-playing in the NNL because of the huge amount of money, involved down there. So for me, I think it's really been a good one. We just, hope for the best, for Nigeria football.
Hope for the best for Nigerian football. Still talking Nigerian football. This time around, Nigeria's Flying Eagles bounced back from their opening defeat to Norway with a hard-fought 3-2 win over Saudi Arabia in their second Under-20 FIFA World Cup group games. Nasiru Salihu opened the scoring in the 10th minute before Saudi Arabia's equalizer through Amma Al-Yuhabi. Amos Ochoche restored Nigeria's lead in the with a stunning strike before halftime, but Talal Haji leveled early in the second half. A decisive moment came in stoppage time when Captain Daniel Bamiye converted a penalty to seal the victory for the Flying Eagles. The win lifted Nigeria to third in the group behind Colombia and Norway, who drew zeros in their own clash. The Flying Eagles will next face Colombia, while Saudi Arabia finish against Norway. So Kingsley, not a very convincing result for the Flying Eagles. They took the lead at 10 minutes. We thought it was going to be more like rains of gold, but then the Saudi Arabia, they had to draw level before the Flying Eagles struck again. Saudi Arabia early second half had to equalize. So Flying Eagles, rather, they had to dig deep until the 10 minutes before they won 3-2. With a team like Saudi Arabia, the Flying Eagles conceding goals, unable to win convincingly, do you see them really going far in this tournament?
Yes, if they are more determined. I mean, you don't even, I don't think, talking about Saudi Arabia, you don't underrate them. Football is gradually gaining momentum in Saudi Arabia. All right. So for me, I think, yes, hard-fought victory, you will say, for the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. But I think for me, talking about going far, they have to really, really determine. Colombia won't be an easy team for them, in the next game. And I think for me, if they want to stand tall, you don't want to stay top of that group, they have to beat Colombia. That's the only thing at this point in time. They really, really have to beat, Colombia, to see if they can, of course, progress, in that particular side. So for me, yes, you will say it's a hard-fought victory, but you don't need to underrate Saudi Arabia. Football is gradually getting momentum down there, and they're also making an impact, as it stands. So for me, hard-fought victory it is. The only thing I'm very impressed and happy about is the fact that the goals came. 3 goals, in this game, and I think that was the problem we had, scoring goals. But thank God they were able to go all the way to, banging 3 goals, in this encounter. I think for me, that will be a wake-up call. That will be a thing of inspiration that, of course, we can start scoring, at this point in time. So I just hope that the coach of the side, Aliou Zubairu, of course, will make sure that he put the team straight to make sure that he gets a favorable results, against Colombia in the next encounter.
All right, favorable result against their opponent, talking about Colombia in their next game. Meanwhile, Lucas Zidane, the 27-year-old goalkeeper and son of a French football great Zinedine Zidane, has been called up for Algeria's 2 remaining 2026 World Cup qualifying matches. Zidane switched his international allegiance from France to Algeria last month after representing Les Blues at the youth level. He currently plays for Granada in Spanish second division. Since he never made the step up to the French national team, he remained eligible to play for Algeria, a country of his paternal grandparent. Algeria leading their World Cup qualifying group with 19 points. They will qualify for the tournament with a win over Somalia next week, but could also do so in their final game against second place Uganda. The North Africans have qualified for the 2025 African Cup of Nations, set to begin in December 21 in Morocco. So the son of the great Zizou, as he's popularly called, has of course refused to toe the way of his father. Rather, he decided to switch allegiance to Algeria. Is this coming on the heels that Algeria had already qualified for the African Cup of Nations and at the verge of qualifying for the World Cup? And that is why he had to, of course, to that line. Hence, he's not getting caught up by the Les Blues.
I think that's the main reason at this point in time. At 27, you've not been caught up by the national team. Would you look for a way to see how to make a mark elsewhere? And I think that's what the young man is trying to do. Of course, understand that, Algeria is the home of his, paternal grandparents. So he has everything, he has every right, to go down there and, of course, take up that responsibility of representing the team. So for me, I think that's the main reason, not getting called up, by the France national team. I think he has to, of course, make a switch, at this point in time to see how, of course, he can get it, he can get to play in the national scene. And then Algeria, of course, tend to be, his destination. Let's just see what, of course, he'll be able to bring up for the Algeria national team. And I wish him, of course, the very best.
We wish Lucas the very best, but then still talking about his switch of allegiance, Kingsley, it's become a common knowledge that whenever African descent players fail to, get a call-up in any of the European country, when age is no longer on their side, they decide to turn their attention to Africa, their roots, more like using African countries as a makeshift or a second option. Do you think that this is right? And is it right for African countries to continue to accept this kind of players who, from up initio, doesn't want to play for African countries? But when they are way past their prime, that is when they try to trace back their roots.
For me, I think it's not right. All right, it's not right. It's just like they see Africa as their second option. All right, and for me, it's not a good one at this point in time. I think what we need to do, because at this point in time, these people go out there just to get themselves better, because when you go play down there in Europe, you're exposed to modern kind of football. You're exposed to better facilities that will make you a very good player at the end of the day. But in Africa here, how many African countries have all of those top-notch facilities and have those coaches, whoever that is involved, to give them or to train them to adapt to that modern kind of football, and all of that. So for me, I think if Africa the countries in Africa develop their football system, all right, get top-notch facilities, get top-notch trainers, to train players down here in Africa, won't bother ourselves, in trying to say, oh, this person plays for Susu club. Okay, he said he wants to play for our national team. Let him come. We'll just open our arms and embrace the person. No, but if we have quality players down here, we won't bother. All right, it is even those players that even be they'll be playing. Oh, let me go back to my country. Of course, and play. People want to play for the Three Lions of England today. Eberechi is not a Nigerian, but he's representing England. Why? Because he feels, oh, if I come to the national to Nigeria, what am I going to achieve? Where the football system, of course, is not really, in order, administrative-wise. The people at the helm of affairs are not making things, easy. So decided to represent, of course, England. And today, of course, is playing for them, at the end of the day, where possibly you stand a chance of achieving something, in your career and all of that. So for me, I think these are things that they look out for. Oh, if I play for this country, will I be able to win the World Cup? Will I be able to win the continental title, and all of that? So you look at all of this and say, okay, let me switch to this place, But if we here in Africa develop our football system, put up a good facilities and all of that, I think these people will want to come play, for their country. That's the thing.
All right, we'll see how all this will go, but we can tell you that Lucas Zidane has, of course, made his decision, refusing to toe the line of his father. He has decided to, of course, trace back his roots in Africa. Now he will be representing Algeria, and Algeria are at the brink of qualifying for the next World Cup. Just one game, if they get to win one game, they are through to the World Cup 2026. They have already qualified for the African Cup of Nations. We are saying, is it morally justifiable for players of African descent that wait to see or get call-up from, other foreign countries? When that call-up doesn't come on time, when they are, way past their prime at 27, 28, that is when they try to retrace their route. And we are saying, morally, is that right? Should CAF do something about this? Wait and see. But away from that, Victor Osimhen trained away from his Galatasaray's teammate yesterday as Turkish champion intensify preparation for their Super League debut against Besiktas this weekend. The Nigerian international, who scored a decisive penalty in Tuesday's UEFA Champions League win over Liverpool at Ramsey Park Stadium, was substituted in the 72nd minute after suffering cramp. According to reports in Turkey, the 26-year-old striker did not join the rest of the squad in the morning session, but instead underwent a special workout, raising concern about his availability for the clash against Besiktas. Galatasaray's coach Okan Buruk had earlier moved to ease fears, insisting that Victor Osimhen was not injured but had only suffered fatigue during the Liverpool's encounter. The Super Eagles forward, who has quickly become a fan favorite at Istanbul, has scored 40 goals in 46 appearances for the club since his arrival from Napoli. So Victor Osimhen, it looks as though all attention is being given to him to ensure that he stays 100% fit against their clash between them and Besiktas this weekend. For Victor Osimhen, it's been an impressive outing for him since he left Napoli to Galatasaray. Some say it was a bad move, some have continued to say it is a good move for him, but then beyond that, do you see Victor Osimhen with this Galatasaray team this season winning maybe major laurels? I'm not talking about the league because they are already constant champions of the league. Do you see them going far in Europe?
That's a big question. Will they go far in Europe? They lost their first game in the Champions League, but were able to start their ground, against Liverpool, and of course, able to get 3 points, in that particular one. So, talking about, their journey in Europe, I think with that determination as well against Liverpool, I believe they stand a chance, of course, in Europe. Don't forget they signed some couple of players, Sani and some other players as well. So to reinforce the team. So I think they stand in a very, very good position. I think the presence of Victor Osimhen, in the team actually, of course, bring that huge high level of motivation, and that's why they don't joke with the man. Whatever will make him fit, whatever will make him ready for any game, they really, really want to do it, at this point in time to make sure that, they get what they want. So I think that's why they're giving him this special treatment to make sure that he's really fit. But the Victor Osimhen I saw in that game against Liverpool, they don't look like a player that is injured. Maybe they're just trying to put up mind games, and all of that. But I believe Victor Osimhen will surely play in that game against, Besiktas. So if you take a look at it, yes, the man is the player of the moment, down there at Galatasaray, and everyone, of course, is really paying attention to him. What next from Osimhen? What is Galatasaray up to with this man, and all of that? So the coach really have to come up with so many strategies, possibly to, of course, deceive the opponents, and so Osimhen will not play, and all of a sudden you see Osimhen on the pitch, and all of that. So for me, I think in Europe, with the determination I saw against Liverpool, I think they will go far in the Champions League.
Talking about going far in the UEFA Champions League in the third tier of European football, Crystal Palace launched their bid. Yes, at the top, stage with a 2-0 win over Dynamo Kiev last night at Kingsley. Crystal Palace, a statement of intent for them in Europe?
Yeah, definitely. Statement of intent for Crystal Palace, and a good one for them, after coming back, to European competition after so many years, coming up with a very, very good note. Huge one for Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, they've been fantastic. So far this year, they've tried most kind of course to hold their own. Remember at the earlier parts of the season where they held Chelsea as well, and as well also did something, I think, against Liverpool as well. So for me, you talk about Crystal Palace, they are in a very, very good form, as it stands, and we look forward to see how far, of course, they will go in the competition.
All right, we'll see how far they can go in the competition. We can tell you that, some other results will come your way in the evening when we make a return for Sports Extraordinary. Then we have more time to talk about other results. But we can tell you that some, fixtures that is set to light up your screen tonight in different leagues across Europe. In the Premier League, we'll see Bournemouth play host to Fulham. This evening in La Liga, we'll see Osasuna welcome Getafe, while in the Bundesliga, we'll see Hoffenheim play host to Cologne. Italian Serie A, we'll see Hellas Verona welcome Sassuolo, and in French Ligue 1, Paris FC, the club of Victor, yes, we play host to Lorient in that very one. Kingsley, it has not been a good start for FC club, the newly promoted side in French League 1. Do you see them staying afloat the league?
We're just looking forward to see how it is. We understand that the league just started. Yes, we have few games, as it stands. So we expect to see them, of course, putting up, some high level of performance, as the season, of course, progresses.
All right, keep your eye in that very game, because our own Moise Simon will be in action tonight for the FC side after leaving his former club to join forces with FC Paris this night. So just watch out for him, because he's been impressive for the newly promoted side. Talking about Moise Simon. This is where we draw the anchor for this morning edition of the show. Kingsley, your final word before we bounce out of the building.
Yeah, of course. Club football makes a return as well this weekend, so we expect to see another bomber fixtures, this weekend. Chelsea going to lock horns against Liverpool. Interesting cracker, of course, to watch out for. It's going to be Manchester United against Sunderland. Can United redeem themselves against Sunderland this weekend? So we'll see how it goes this weekend.
We'll see how it goes this weekend. Two managers and two clubs that are under pressure will be taking on some of the best informed teams so far in English Premier League. Chelsea Football Club, yes, they will be, hoping to get all 3 points against the Red Liverpool. And of course, Manchester United, like you heard from Kingsley, will be hoping to get all 3 points against informed Sunderland. But then, in the evening, when we make a return, we'll do well to profile some of these weekend top games across Europe. I did a show this morning alongside Kingsley Emmanuel. My name is Emmanuel Michael, the Prime Minister of the Airways, and we are saying gracias.